There's already enough crap in the world, so how about you exhibit excellence? And with that, we're going to continue the Count Daily app over here, where I talk for 10 minutes uninterrupted without any edits, and after 10 minutes, I just cut it off. We talk about random stuff. Today, excellence / crap, basically. And there is a law called Sturgeon's law. It's sort of like one of those internet laws, I'm pretty sure. And that one is called, or the law states 90% of everything is crap. Well, that's why I said the intro, so to speak, because, well, I mean, because there's already enough crap around. Try to exhibit excellence. And I changed this this quote into the opposite, because I thought, well, we can say 90% of everything is crap, but of course that means that 10% is good, right? So that's pretty nice. And I've refined this a little bit more. So it's not supposed to sound defeatist. I actually wanted this to state something I think true. So if 90% of everything is crap, 10% of everything is good, and then 1% of that is great, and 0.1% of that is exceptional, and 0.01% of that exceptional things, that is perfection itself. Good luck. The idea of the quote that I made up there is basically that obviously what would you say? It gets less and less, right? Because 1% of 10% is 0.1%. And then of that 0.1%, you now take another 0.1%, which turns into 0.0, like it turns into even like worse percentages, so to speak, right? So you get like the perfection itself is like 1 in 10 billion or something like that. And the reason why that's the case is because, first of all, I mean, perfection, as we have previously discussed, is unattainable. But the good thing about that is, that means that you can always improve. Improvement is possible for infinity, right? You can always improve because you can never be perfect at something. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's good. That's a good thing. And so, when we say we want to exhibit excellence, or we want to radiate like magnificent energy, right? This is sort of like some of the words that I've been using here. It's about the fact that there is so many bad things that can happen. We shouldn't focus on too many bad things though. But there is already a lot of crap, right? And what the world needs is quality. And it doesn't need quality in products, and it doesn't only need quality, it needs quality in everything. It needs excellence. And so when we think about quality, what does it mean to have for something to have a level of quality? And why should that even be pursued? Like, why do we have standards for things? Well, I think, number one, there's enough rubbish. Like I said, there's enough crap, there's enough rubbish. A lot of things are not good. Now, on the way to greatness, right? On the, like we've said in the previous yap, I always go back to one of the previous yaps because sometimes I do realize that I need like 5 minutes to get like really going in these yaps. And then after 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes just fly crazily, and then it's like, it's almost over, so I have to say something profound now. And then it just, it cuts off. But I think it's still an interesting exercise to keep these yaps the way that they are for now. I'm going to keep with them for the time being, and then we'll see. But the idea is on the way to quality, and on the way to excellence, and on the way to greatness, right? These different terms, we rarely use them nowadays. At least sometimes I feel like we use them not enough. On the way to this, on the way to the good, on the way to the better, you will be on the road of crappy for a little bit, and that's okay. Because it's not about the worst thing would be to create things that are bad, or things that are subpar, or things that are what would you say? Yeah, let's say crap. Sure. And then continue to do that. I think that's the worst. Actually, let's think about this for just a second. Would you suppose that it is better to keep creating crap or create nothing at all? Because that is also a thing. I think it depends on we're quite abstract over here, but I think we're going to stay in the abstract for at least this yap. The idea is that when you create something crap, if that does not take away from something else, I think it's okay. However, if it consumes too many resources, let's say, I think it would be a net negative, right? But if it's like, I mean, I remember the there is you know, the like old Capri Suns. The old Capri Suns, I know that some people took those and made like handbags out of them. Let's say, just suppose for just a second, that the handbags are crap, okay? I don't think they are, but let's just say that they are. I think they're pretty interesting, but if they are crap, I don't think they're taking anything away, because they are actually taking a net negative, that being trash, and they're reusing that in a positive way. Which also, by the way, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Always keep that in mind. So even when we talk about things like this is crap, that there is going to be a subjective element to it. And when we talk about something of quality or excellence, there is, what is the idea? You can be the best mango in the world. People are going to come around, they don't like mangoes. It is what it is, right? And even though the quality of a mango might be absolutely amazing, if someone doesn't like them, it doesn't matter how good this supposed thing is, it doesn't matter. All right, okay, that's interesting. So then I suppose it would be better to make crap and instead of not making anything. Yeah, I would say that's probably true. However, it would be then better even to make crap on your way to getting out of the crap and actually making something good. Yes, I would think that that's also correct. I think that's also correct. Yes. And then, finally, obviously the last, I wouldn't say last, but the highest level, so to speak, would then be to create something of quality, something excellent, and still strive to make it even better, right? So that would be the idea of making quality, yeah, making quality a habit, right? Like make it something where when you think about doing something, it's like, okay, don't even ask whether or not the world needs this. So this is also another quote. I'm not going to get this entirely right, but don't ask if the world needs it. Do something that fires up your soul, because we need more people that have a soul that is on fire, right? In the positive way, as in like your existence is your entire existence self-justifies itself so readily by what you're engaged in that you're not even asking any other question. I think that's definitely one of the greatest things. I'm gonna search for the quote. So the idea is that don't ask if it's needed. Ask if it. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. I think there's some quote about that. I've encountered this quote. Well, sometimes it's not easy to find this. Knowing the way, if you know, you know. The man who asks a question for a minute is a fool for a minute, and the man who doesn't ask is a fool for life. It's not quite the quote that I was looking for, but fair enough, fair enough. Regardless though, the idea is that we need more people with, they are souls on fire, like I said, in this case, meant as a positive thing, sort of taking in the Japanese concept of ikigai, right? Ikigai? And like the thing that is like the world needs, and that what you love and what you're good at and what you can be paid for. If you can find that, you have, I don't want to say one life, but you know, that's definitely it's a good idea. It's a very, very good idea. And what I'm going to sort of leave you with is the idea, when we think about excellence and we're making something or creating something, then there's one quote that I absolutely adore, right? So when you're striving for excellence, what you should think about is the following. That man, or humans, right, people, cannot remake themselves without suffering. For you are both the marble and the sculptor. Think about that for probably a long time. That would be a good idea. But yeah, be excellent in whatever you do. And I hope you found this thought-provoking and interesting, and talk to you next time. Until then.